Hi guys, I'm Max 6 and we are at Gold's Gym Venice, the Mecca, and I'm here. I have the great privilege and honor to have six-time Mr. Olympia, Dorian Yates, on Muscle Beach TV. Dorian, welcome to the show.
How'd you do? Thanks for having me, man.
I'm so excited. Dorian, what are you doing in the Mecca, man? Tell me first of all what you're doing here. It's very rare that we get to see you.
I'm in Gold's Gym Venice here. I'm doing the DY certification, which we do once or twice a year. Come out here and I train and certify personal trainers so that they can pass on my methods correctly to other personal trainers and to their clients and so on. So that's what we're doing here.
You're passing along the good word for the mensers.
Yeah, I'm passing along the knowledge and putting the guys through the paces and making sure that they can, they can translate and they can teach the correct methods to everybody else, because there's a lot of misconceptions about my training and how I train and so on. So we want to get it across there and get it out to the people. The best way to train efficiently and not spend too much time in the gym.
Yeah. How long have you been doing those courses? I've seen you here maybe like 2-3 times over the past 2 years or so.
We did the first bunch last year. I think it was last May. We've got about 25 guys now that are certified all around the world, from Russia, from different parts of Europe, from the United States, from Argentina, from Lebanon, from China. So we've got guys all over the place, and still a lot of interest in people doing it. I do courses in Spain as well, where I live now. So we move around. We do them at different places.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, do you always come to Venice, or do you also go all over the world?
We move around because obviously not everybody can come and train in Venice. Yeah. Most of the American guys can come here. I do them in Europe as well. So yeah, we move around.
Nice. And how can people find out where the next course or classes is?
DUIHit.co is the website. So you go there, and also we're on Instagram and Facebook and everything.
Yeah, someone told me they came from Newport, they saw it on Instagram. So thank God for social media these days.
Yeah, we just put some stuff out on social media, and the places got booked up pretty quick.
That's one good thing about social media. So Dorian, listen, I wanted to get that out of the way, but I had the great privilege to actually interview a good friend of yours, Tom Platz, just last weekend, and your name come up quite a bit. And we talked about the old days, how Tom is. He likes to reminisce, and I could have listened to the guy for hours. But it was great for him because he told a very, very good story. He says, when I was doing seminar back in the early 1990s, there was this big guy. He's always sitting in the back of the class, being quiet, eating every 2 hours. And this guy was Dorian Yates. And once in a while, he would ask you questions or here and there. But do you remember those days with Tom?
Absolutely. Tom Platz was a massive inspiration. And this is the days before the internet and everything, so you just had the magazines. So the only way you can get information is you read the magazines or go in person to a seminar, which were real popular. We used to have guys coming over from the States and doing seminars in England, which was interesting. And Tom was our idol. Tom was number one because he was hardcore. He loved to fucking train, he loved to squat and everything like that. And very inspiring, had a lot of energy and a lot of passion for the sport, and something probably lacking a little bit these days, I think.
Yeah, still today you should hear him talk. And that's funny that you say that, because he said, I am waiting for a future Mr. Olympia to show us something. And I was like, what does that mean? He says, well, the last one who showed me something was Dorian. And everybody since Dorian has been trying to emulate or follow in his footsteps. How does that make you feel when you say something like that from him?
It feels great because, I never wanted to come into the sport and do well and have a nice physique. I wanted to push it to the limits. Just like Tom. Tom inspired us. He said, I remember Tom came to England and did a seminar, and he said, when I walk out on stage, I don't want the judges to look and say, hey, that's nice. I want them to drop their fucking pencils on the floor and say, what the fuck is that, So he wanted to take it to the extreme. So that's what I wanted to do as well. See how far I could push it, and I got to say, Tom inspired me a little bit with that mindset for sure.
Let me ask you something. When you first got into bodybuilding and you first started doing this, and you were young, you were teenagers, right?
I started seriously training around 20 years old. Okay. Yeah.
Did you ever think, or was it your goal to become Mr. Olympia? Was that the goal? What was the goal?
No, not straight away. My goal was to win my first contest, and maybe I'd like to be British champion, or maybe like a world champion. That would be great. So the Mr. Olympia, thinking about the Mr. Olympia came a little later. I think really turning pro, from being an amateur in England to turning pro, was a big thing. And I said to myself, if I don't place in the top 5 in my first pro show, I'm going to stop competing.
Wow.
Because I always gave 100%, and I say if I give 100% and I can't get in the top 5, then I don't have what it takes. I mean, if you look at the history of bodybuilding, all the guys that were great, they placed high. Yeah. Apart from Ronnie Coleman, who's he's the only guy that took time to get up there. So, considering everything that's involved, all the sacrifice and everything that goes into it, I couldn't justify doing that if I didn't have a career there in the sport. So, first night of champions, I said I got to get in the top 5 or that's it. And fortunately, I got second place. So
I feel a great Momo.
We all know the story then, yeah. Mohamed Benazir was first and I was second. And after that was my first trip out here to this place, to the Gold's Gym. I did a shoot for WIDA, for Flex magazine. I remember I was lifting a 200-pound dumbbell for Rose, and they got a picture of that, and that was the first front cover on Flex. And prior to that, everyone, it was all very posed, the light weights and the spray on water, sweat and shit. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do real stuff, and people loved it. And then the whole kind of way they did photo shoots changed, where they wanted to get that genuine kind of look with the weights and everything. Yeah, but Chris Lund was known for that, but not previously. Yeah. I did this shoot with Chris Lund, and he got the shot with a 200-pound dumbbell. And when you lift a 200-pound dumbbell, it's going to look different. I mean, all the veins are coming out and everything because it's real. If you get a lightweight, you're not going to get that look. So that was the first shoot, I think, where you use really heavy weights, and after that, it became very popular with Chris and everything.
The reason why I'm asking if you already knew in advance that you were going to be Mr. Olympia is because Tom said a story also. He said that eventually he became a recruiter for the WWE. That's when the WBF started and everything. And he went to you and he saw something in you and he offered you a contract. And at that time, you weren't making that much money. You went to WWE, and tell me the story, because you turned down a lot of money.
Well, I just got second in Night Champions. This was around the same time. So I earned $7,000. I'm living with my wife at the time and my son in a government housing. It wasn't great. And Tom Platz, who was my idol, called me up, invited me out to Connecticut, where the WWF, WWE, whatever it is. Yeah. I mean, their offices were there, and this is a big organization with a lot of money, and they wanted to start a bodybuilding federation and take bodybuilding to the mainstream. So it looked very attractive. I went out there, I met with Tom, I met with the people there, and they offered me, good money, a 3-year contract with really good money. It would have changed my life. Would have got a nice house and a nice car and everything, all that stuff. But I went home and I thought about it, and I was a little bit worried about how the bodybuilding was going to be presented, because wrestling is not a sport, it's entertainment, as they say. And I told them, I said, look, I'm not interested if that's what it's going to be. I want to compete in a contest and win or lose on merit, and they told me it was going to be a genuine contest, but I had my doubts, and Mr. Olympia is Mr. Olympia. So even if it was more money in that organization, it's still not Mr. Olympia. So I say, after some hard thinking, I had to call Tom Platz, and that was a hard call to make, and say, thank you, but no thanks, basically, and this is why. I think I can do it. I think I can do the Olympia, and I'm gonna, that's what I'm gonna go for. So, yeah, it was a tough decision. But my whole career has not been about the money. Money's great, but money's secondary to the achievement.
And Tom told me that they respected your decision and they let you go, of course. And when you won, you got a telegram, because back then there was no email. You got a telegram from Tom saying, congratulations, you did it just like you said you would.
I got a paper telegram, which regretfully I don't have anymore, because, over the years you lose things and everything. But yeah, that was nice of Tom that he remembered and sent me the telegram.
This is like a Rocky story, to turn down that kind of money when you don't have any, or you have very little.
I guess I had a lot of faith in myself and what I wanted to do, and it was a tough one, but I'm really glad I did do that, Yeah.
Would you change anything about your career, or do you have any regrets as far as bodybuilding and how long it lasted? Maybe would you have gone longer than what you did if you could have?
Well, I retired because of the injury. I had a tricep tendon tear injury, which made it really impossible for me to train properly. So that was the main reason I retired.
Yeah.
But the 6-1, 1997, it was starting to feel like a job, to be honest. It was starting to feel, maybe the passion's going a little bit. So I don't think I would have done it much longer, because once the passion goes and it becomes a job, I wasn't so interested. So, I don't really know, but I don't believe in having regrets, because I'm happy in life where I am now. I'm in a good place, and everything that led to that is a step that led to that. So I could go back and say, hey, wouldn't it be nice if I didn't get injured, of course, and things like that. But no, to be honest, I don't have regrets. Maybe I needed to get injured, because that was the time for me to stop, to move on to other things. So I'm pretty philosophical about it. I don't have regrets.
Good. I'm glad you said that, because I remember I'm good friends with Peter McGuff, which is a good friend of yours as well. And he was saying, when you got hurt in '96 and you had to retire after that, he felt you weren't ready to retire.
Yeah.
So you had to retire by default.
Oh, it was a forced retirement. Mentally, I wasn't ready at all, because, and everything in my career, I tried to be strategic. I tried to plan it and think, So this was totally, there's no planning here. It's out of my hands.
Yeah.
And being as I'm quite extreme personality, is like when I stopped, I stopped. 97 Mr. Olympia, I did that. I think I did a couple of guest posings, like a week or 2 weeks afterwards. But after that, I wouldn't go on stage again. So I didn't even guest pose or anything. It was a complete stop, So it took me some time to find my way and in life, and what's my role outside of this being Mr. Olympia job that I've been doing and role I've been playing, I guess. So no regrets, man. It was a great journey.
I'm glad. Talk about your good friend Steve Weinberger up in New York. Every year before the Olympia, I love Steve. He's a good friend of mine as well. Every year, 1 month out. He told me you would come 1 month out from the Olympia, train in his gym, stay with him, and he said you wouldn't believe how ready Dorian was one month out. It wasn't like he was almost there. He was ready 1 month out. We're just waiting out the show. How was that for you to go and get there?
Great. I mean, Bev's gym out there in New York, that was my training base for all the Olympias. Yep. And whenever I came to the States and I was doing, guest posing, traveling around and stuff like that, I stay at Bev and Steve, I stay at their place and train at the gym, which is, anyone that's been there, they'll tell you it's probably the best gym in the States. Equipment-wise, it's amazing, and Bev and Steve are good people. So, every year I was out there in New York, so I guess I'm an adopted New Yorker almost.
He's got some fond memories about it, and that back then he was judging the Olympia, and because you were competing, you guys were so close, he actually had to remove himself from the judging panel because you guys were too tight. That's
him and Bev were not judging because there would have been a conflict of interest, because we were friends,
They must have really liked you.
And well, maybe. If they were judging and I was in the contest, there would be, it wouldn't be right. There would be controversy, obviously. So they dropped out. But I was in shape a month before the Olympia. I was in shape 5 or 6 weeks before the Olympia, probably. I mean, I think it's true to say that my best physique, we never really saw that on the Olympia stage, because it was usually like 3 or 4 weeks out.
Really? Why were you?
Because although I was known to be the mass monster, all this stuff, coming into a contest, being as big as possible was not what I wanted to be. I wanted to be absolutely peeled, absolutely shredded, and I do believe I usually sacrifice some size and fullness to do that, but I guess I figured I could afford to lose a little bit, because the other guys were not quite so big, so I wanted to beat them in all departments. Not just to be the biggest, I wanted to be the best conditioned as well,
The density, wow. How do you see the state of bodybuilding today? How do you see it go, and do you think it's going in the right direction? Do you think it's regressing?
Well, you just don't have bodybuilding now. You have so many different categories. From men's physique, classic bodybuilding.
We got the Olympia champion watching the camera right now as we're shooting.
you got women's bikini. So I think bodybuilding, if we're talking strictly bodybuilding, I believe it has declined a little bit. But the rest of all the other categories around it, they've grown a lot. So the sport and the industry has got bigger, but it's got more diversified. There's more classes and so on. So it's different. It's a whole different thing, with the social media and everything. It's a different game. You got guys online now that don't compete. They make a living just.
What is that?
There's social media bodybuilding, I guess. I mean, there's a huge industry out there. People just collecting likes, and that gives them you know, it gives them power, and they make money, and they don't need to compete. So, you know, it's a different day. It's not my cup of tea, as we say in England. But hey, you know, it's all good. If they're in the gym and they're training, it's better than they're not. You know.
Well, Dorian, thank you so much for talking to us today. It was a great interview. I'll put that on my bucket list because I really wanted to have you. And then best of luck with all your classes and your training, you guys.
All right, one more thing I'd like to say. Go ahead. I'm involved in a new competition called Super League. So rather than me going on and explaining what that is now, I would like people to go and look on Super League Live. It's a new kind of competition for bodybuilders, physique athletes. It's not bodybuilding per se. It's a new concept. So go and check that out on Super League Live. You got all the rules and description and everything there. I think it's something new and exciting for people that are into bodybuilding.
SuperLeagueLive.com?
That's right, SuperLeagueLive.com.
I'll put that in the video. Yeah, there you go. SuperLeague.live.
There we go.
Okay, there you go. We got it now.
SuperLeague.live.
We get some help from back there. All right, thank you so much for coming on the show, Dorian.
All right, thanks, man.
All right, you're the man.
All right, cool.
All right, this is Dave My Max 6 for Muscle Beach TV, and we're out.